to the channel. I'm just going to jump right into this. So I told you guys I'd do a better, kind of a deeper dive on the Sig Cross that I just got. And so I did something I wouldn't normally do, and I probably shouldn't have gone as far as I did. However, I'm going to get you flipped around here and show you what the heck I'm talking about. That's the rifle right now. So I probably should not have taken it apart this much. It happens. It's all good. And so I'll just kind of go over some of the pieces here and show you what we're dealing with. I took some weights of some of the items on it, or pretty much everything, as you can hear me picking it up from behind the camera here. But so the rifle together, not in this configuration, weighed 8 pounds 2 ounces, with literally everything you see here. And so I have a Bushnell Engage 2.5 to 10 with the Deploy MOA reticle. Here is the scope rail, the rifle, as you can see, and we'll go over everything in a minute here. Butt stock with the screw. Here's the bolt and all its glorious pieces. And so this video may be a little bit longer than most. I hope you bear with me because I'm excited about this rifle and I want to show you guys everything I can about it. I took apart more. I started to take off the safety levers and take out the trigger, but then you have to drop this pin out of here. There's a ball detent with a spring. It made me a little uncomfortable, so I left it. Legend has it, things like this. I was going to take the barrel off too. Legend has it that you can use an AR tool to take it off. I cannot. It is too narrow where the pins are, so I can't get it around that. So it's no big deal. I probably shouldn't take it off anyways, but it's all good. And so we're gonna go over some weights real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of shaky, I'm hand holding this. So everything, like I said, together weighs 8 pounds 2 ounces. The scope with the rings, and this is allegedly an 18-ounce scope. I didn't take the rings off, I should have done that to measure it. The scope in the rings weighs 1 pound 8.6 ounces. I'm assuming that the weight of that is just this, and the covers add some weight to it, and then obviously the rings add some weight to it. And so I'm going to move that up here out of the way, so as I move things around. And since this is up here, I'll let you know, this is a PMag from Magpul, but you'll see it's a little different. It's got the little feed lips up front here, and allows for single feeding a little bit better, allegedly. I've had no problem using this magazine. It has fed everything I've put through it, and it works great. This magazine weighs, oh, I'll put it somewhere over here, like 3 ounces or something. Yeah, there it is, 3.1 ounces. And so, not a big deal there. I did not weigh the rifle with that in it. So the rifle weight does not have that in it. The rail that goes on top of the receiver weighs, let's see here, handguard, scope rail with screws, so with the 4 screws that are in there, weighs 2 ounces on the dot. The handguard here weighs 6.8 ounces. So since I didn't take the barrel off, I don't know how much it weighs with the barrel nut, but 6.8 ounces, and it's not a short, that's an 18-inch barrel, so this is about a 15-16-inch rail handguard. It's not a rail, there's not a rail on it. It does mount in 3 separate locations, as you can see here, here, and here. And they are short screws, they're really short. And as you see here, into the receiver, there are brass inserts where this mounts. They are not torqued down super hard, but they were snug. And I have no reason to believe that this was going to come out or anything like that. As I'm putting this back together, I'll show you stuff too along the way. Here's the bolt handle, the bolt knob, the pin. It does have the 3-lug with basically an M16 extractor. I believe that's what you call it, because it sure looks like the one that's in my M4. Firing pin, firing spring, all that good stuff. So the bolt with everything you see here is 12.2 ounces, so it's a little bit heavy, but I mean, It's a big chunk of metal. One of the things I like is that there's a pin that goes into the receiver, and it's up here. It's right there, and then it attaches to this piece. That's the bolt release lever. That cam, or that pin, or whatever you want to call it, let me find it here, goes into this, I'll call it a raceway. This is the track that it goes in and keeps the bolt on track and running very smooth. The other thing that keeps it running really smooth is that milled out piece here on the buttstock. That is in line with the same type of milled out piece that's in the receiver and allows for the bolt to operate forwards and backwards really smooth. So then we've got the stock. This is a big piece of machined out metal with some plastic and some rubber on it, obviously. If you saw my other video, you can push this button down that's right here, operate this lever this way, and the cheek piece or the comb height is adjustable up and down. Pretty sweet. You can loosen this nut, wing nut, whatever you want to call it, and you can see that I still have a lot of adjustment left in the buttstock to go out. The pad, I'm only doing, okay, I can do it one-handed, goes up and down. This is really nice. And then as you can see, probably the spacing is off just a little bit in there. I have this top canted to the left. As you can see, it looks a little off, and I think you can see that space down in there. But bottom out to the right, top up to the left, it just fits my shoulder a little bit better. This is the bolt that holds the buttstock to the folding adapter, and I'll pick up the receiver and all that in just a second here. And then the grip is a standard AR-15 grip. It's still got the big screw in it, and then it comes with a plug. It's fairly upright. It's not bad. I like it. The texturing is nice. I don't know if I like the angle. And so I'll probably be replacing that pretty soon. That's 2.9 ounces. Not really that big of a deal. This bone dry, like this. Just like it is with the muzzle brakes. I'm not taking that off again. Just like that. Weighs 5 pounds and like 1.5 ounces, 1 or 2 ounces. And so that's pretty nice. It's, oh my gosh, I wish the rifle weighed this much. This is nothing. But anyways, it does not. And so let me give you a top view of this. So there is marking on the barrel. Let me rotate it around to the right spot. It's very small. Oops. Right there. And I've got it with the mag well up right now, as you'll see here. And again, here is the barrel nut, more or less. I guess it's not more or less. I guess it actually is a barrel nut. It installs just like an AR barrel. Mag well. The mag release is right here. There were some complaints on some forums that it was too loose. Some said it was too tight. I think it's about right. It drops my magazines free. If you've seen my other video, they do drop free. Let me roll you over here. The trigger guard is a piece of an internal. I've seen a picture of the entire trigger assembly out. I was going to do it, and I almost did. I took the main bolt out, and I started loosening up this screw. Then I found out that was a sensitivity screw for the trigger. And then I took that cam out, but then there's a detent with the ball, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. And so I don't want to screw up my new rifle and lose a little ball bearing and then call Sig and have them tell me how dumb I was. So I'm not going to do it. Here is the folding mechanism. It's spring loaded. You have to push down here and then pull up slightly on this device. It's a lot easier when the buttstock's attached. It locks up really tight, and I'll show you more in a little bit when I get it back together. When it's locked open with the buttstock extended, I have no play. When it's locked in the folded position, I want to say there's a little, but there's no noise, and it's not, I mean, it's moving maybe a millimeter, if that, but I was getting no noise out of that. Very familiar controls. If you're interested in that, let's see if I can, there we go. I like this. Now, if you watched my other video, it stopped right here, well, about right here for a little while when I first got it. But I tightened up the trigger a little bit. I haven't shot it with a tightened trigger yet, but it's not doing it now. So I don't know if I broke something. I hope not, because I don't want to be called a big dummy by anybody or by Sig. But if that's how it is now, I'm happy with that. And you can see the bottom here. This is where the trigger is held in. This is where the grip attaches, and you can see here the selector lever has a cotter pin on each one. And then as you can see here, that's an adjustment for the trigger as well as that one. Alright, I mean, that's a beauty if you ask me. I'm going to darken you up here a little bit. There we go. It's really hard to play with this much light in here. I've got two giant shop lights above me, and it's really hard to balance the light and to get you a feel what this actually looks like. So my sweat is on it. I'm trying my best to get through this too. No fan. I'm in my garage and it's in the summer in Texas. So anyways, I would call this a medium contour to lightish contour barrel. It's not very thick. You know what? Let's just find out how thick it is. So at its thickest, right by the barrel nut, 1.003. So we'll go about halfway, 0.817, and then right at the muzzle brake, 0.75 something. It moved a tiny bit, so sorry, one-handed again. 0.75075, yeah, 0.750. And so I would call that a medium to lightish weight. It's not a varmint, it's not heavy or anything like that, but it definitely gets the job done. I did finally get out and shoot it. If you saw my little clip that I posted. I will leave you here, and in the next portion we will assemble and disassemble this bad guy. Okay, take 3, because I want to show you guys actually how to do this correctly. And so the round hole that harbors this pin will go towards the end of the rifle, the other end will go towards you. So first thing you're going to want to do to reassemble this is you're going to put the bolt in the bolt carrier, and as soon as it drops in place, it's basically exactly where it needs to be. You take this pin, and if you see that hole that's in it, in the lengthwise aspect, drop that down in there. The firing pin will be going through that. Then you take the bolt handle with the large diameter and the other cut into it that's a smaller diameter, and you're going to insert it. If you look at this, the raceway comes here and then goes over. That's where to your left, that's where your large diameter is going to go, and you'll have to look down inside the bolt carrier to see that. From there, you're going to take your firing pin mechanism, drop that down in there. You'll know too if you start to drop it and that pin down here is not turned where the hole is in the correct spot, because it won't let you go any further. You're going to kind of rotate that down, and this piece here, I don't know what the official term is going to drop into the recess. Now if you remember, we didn't push this bolt handle in all the way. It's still got some room to play in there. So what you're going to do here, see these wings right here? Oh, my bad. See these wings right here? You're going to push that down, and it's in place. Alright, it's nice and snug, everything fits correctly. It's really nice. Then you just take your bolt handle, and I'll put some Loctite on it later, but because I don't want this coming off, and I'm probably going to replace it, so we'll see. So put that on, snug it up, and I find the best way to get this to rotate around like it should is just to manhandle it. Alright, and that's it. You just rotate it in, creates that tension. It's cocked right now, as you can see, because the silver indicator is out. But that's how you do the bolt. Okay, so now as I'm putting this thing back together, I have to keep in mind that it did have this little piece here. This is the rebound or tension adjustment for the bolt release. And so I'm going to need you to keep that real handy as I drop it everywhere. Keep that real handy. And then that will go on here, and I'll show you that in a second. Then the rail will get attached that goes on top here. But keep in mind, this piece, or this screw that holds the rail on, actually goes into the actual handguard, right there. So this needs to be put on first. And as such, I will slide that onto the barrel nice and gently, although I won't treat this thing nice and gentle as I break it in. And see, everybody, and people baby their stuff. When you say, hey, you need to break that in, boy, I take that to heart. I'm going to reach over and grab I had the Allen wrench already out, so I'm going to put one of these in each of these holes. You do not want to over tighten these, as remember I told you the inserts on the chassis or frame or whatever you want to call it are brass, and so you do not want to damage those. All right, so I got one in. There it goes, nice and gentle, very light snugging, if that's even a real word. And then I'm going to finish these up, and then I'll have you join me back when we put the rail back on top. Okay, so the handguard is now on. Everything's been snugged up nice and neat. So we are going to put the top rail back on for our scope. And one of the things you cannot forget is this piece right here. And see that little forked spot? That is where this tension spring, or I'll just call it tension spring. That's where this tension spring is going to go. And if you'll notice, it's got a little divot, cutout, whatever in there. That goes into the forked section. So as you drop it in here, you need to make sure that it engages with that forked section. Otherwise, when it drops down, it could fall into your trigger mechanism. So you got to be really careful with that. You could put some painter's tape or something on there. Otherwise, if it's angled down, I've done it twice, it's just fallen down into the mag well. And so once that's on there, then you can take your scope rail and very lightly set that down. And oh, that's wrong tool. You got to use the right tools for the job. And so I'm going to find the proper size, which I believe was this one, the T20 for the scope rail. And I'll put that one back on in a second. And you want to very gently snug these down. Let me make sure these don't fly open on me. So you can feel the tension of that spring that's under there just ever so slightly when you push that down. I'm not snugging this. As soon as I feel a little bit of resistance, I'm going to, right there, I'm just going to stop. Because I want to make sure that these are even. And I don't torque anything out of specs too much, although I'm not using a torque wrench. I'm not killing this. It's got 4 attachment points, 3 of them on the receiver, and 1 of them all the way out on the handguard. But it is free floated, so it might as well just be a part of the receiver. Alright, let me get this. That's not, there it goes. If something feels wrong when you're screwing in one of these things, just stop, back it out. Don't force anything. You don't want to screw this up, because there are no replacement parts for these things yet. Slight snug, slight snug. That one's already looser than the others. Slight snug. And then kind of go here, all the way at the end. Almost like doing a car, just kind of have to skip around a little bit just to make sure you're good. Alright. So now that's back on. Verify that the bolt release has the rebound ability, and it definitely does. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to put back on, I guess, is going to be the buttstock. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and I'm going to make sure I have the right Torx bit, star bit, whatever you call it. I want to say it was the 30. Yep. So it's pretty simple. It's a hole that I can't seem to put on camera, and a bolt. Oh, my bad. See, I almost did it backwards because it's so simple. So, I'm going to lay it on its side. Gently take this bolt, line it up. It's funny because when you have a wrench that kind of articulates like this. I swear everything has like 300 threads on it. It takes forever to screw it in. And I know you're watching, so it takes longer. Sorry this is a long video, but this is a really good deep dive, I think, into what this rifle looks like, how it feels, and all that stuff. And I'll be probably putting out 2 this week because of it. Now you want to make sure this is really snug, and I do need to Loctite that, but I think I'm going to do something with it later, so I'm just going to leave it on because I might be painting it or something. Not sure. So let me open that back up. Make sure there's nothing, not wobbling, anything like that. So it's good to go. All right. And make sure I didn't get zoomed in. Yeah, I did a little bit. All right. So we're still missing a few pieces here. So the grip, not unlike any other AR-15. Let me grab my handy dandy Allen key here. That is the right size. Okay. So there are no springs. This is not an AR-15. There's no spring in here that is reliant upon the safety or anything like that. So it does fit pretty snug. Plug goes in nice and simple if you put it in the right way, because I obviously cannot. There we go. There, much better. So that goes together nice and easy. And then the very last thing that needs to be done to make this rifle whole again is to put the bolt back in. And so as you can imagine, this comb adjustment here gets in the way. And I don't know why, but I cannot actuate this folding mechanism with my left hand. I'm just not that coordinated, I guess. So I fold it, and you cannot take this bolt out unless the thing's folded anyways. And so remember that pin that I put in here, it is going to engage this raceway here. And so I had to push that button to get it up. Boom. Nice and smooth. And so let's pull the bolt back out, the handle back out. Shoulder stock back out, whatever it's called. And as you can see, the bolt is supported all the way back. It doesn't dive after these fins, I don't know what they're called. It doesn't dive after the fins no longer engage here, but it is fully supported. And it works wonderfully. All right, trigger's good. All right, so everything's back in functioning, working order. Okay, so I couldn't get the folding buttstock to close because it was hitting the bolt handle, and then I realized I put this back on upside down. And so I realized it will do that. And so disassembly, since we didn't go over it earlier, you're going to rotate the bolt shroud down to that recessed position. You're going to push down on the back of the bolt here, and you'll feel it go to the larger position, and the bolt the firing pin mechanism just comes straight out. So I'm going to flip that back over, making sure the large opening, and I'm going to push this all the way and just show you that, well, not that far, it just won't go in. And so you're going to back it out just a hair, it goes in where it needs to go in. All right? And then once you have that lined up, push that back in, lock your bolt back in, and then you can rotate with a little bit of force to the first click, and it's ready to go again. And I'll show you that by inserting, and it now closes. All right. So in messing with the rifle earlier, I did tighten up the trigger a bit, but I wanted to show you that as well, since that's about the last thing we're going to go over in this section. It's got the initial take-up, which it's smooth. It's kind of short-ish. I do have an AR long travel 2-stage that's a little bit longer than this, but it's not bad. And then I need to get a gauge, but that's still 2 or 3 pounds. It's pretty light. I don't want it too terribly light. It's not a match rifle. It's not a super precision rifle. I'm not trying to fool myself here. I know what this is, and I know what I bought this for. And this is a do-everything, accurate, lightweight rifle. That's it. Oh, look at that. Remember earlier I told you I couldn't replicate this, and now I can, and I don't know why. You see how it stops right there? I don't know why it does that. There was a Sig rep on one of the forums that said that this was normal, but I'm going to contact them anyways. because I want to make sure this is operating correctly. I've had no issues. It won't fire in this position. It has to be in this position. But just something to be aware of. If you buy this and you get this and flip the lever and it stops right there, just be aware. So it's not bothering me, so I'm going to leave it. But once you get on the trigger, so somebody had complained on another video I watched, and I'm going to get a little closer here, that you actuate the trigger, first travel, then it goes, and then he said there was tons of extra over travel. I'm not getting that until the trigger's dead. See, that was like very, very little over travel. One more and I'll leave it alone. A little bit, that's it. So not being a PRS style rifle, that doesn't bother me. It's not like I'm on an AR and I'm trying to get back on my shot or anything like that. I think this is a good enough trigger for me. This is probably the best trigger I've ever had. If you've used better, you know, great. But for me, I think this is the best. This is the most expensive rifle I've ever bought. And so far, as I hit my shop lights here, so far, I absolutely love this rifle. I've shot it once. I've got 60 rounds through it. And so it's not even broken in. And so I don't shoot for groups in my first sets. Unless it's an older rifle that I'm getting from someone, but this is a brand new rifle, and I'm really, really thrilled with it so far. As far as functionality for me, this is going to meet everything that I need for a hunting and do-it-all rifle. So, you know, for me, it's a do-it-all rifle. It's going to do anything that I want to do with a rifle. And excuse my sweat. It's hot in here. It's raining outside. Let's see here. Woo! It's about 95 degrees in here. It's humid, but you know, so far, so good. I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Recoil with this MSTN, PRI/MSTN 308 QCB muzzle brake is very manageable. It's not any worse or better. You know, kind of goes both ways. Not any worse or better than when I was using it on my Ruger American Predator. It's about the same, and I'm okay with that. Not a problem. And the only thing I did want to do, and I can get you turned around here now, is I tilted the buttstock like I mentioned earlier. And then, obviously, you're going to want to do different position shooting and things like that. Well, you have that option. You have a lot of adjustability here. Okay. And then, since I have to re-zero anyways, this is a really cool feature because after you get a scope put on, say you're down at the rifle range, get behind it and it's ready to go, make sure it's nice and loose. I'd put a drop of oil on that if you live like in the south like me. But you're going to get behind your scope, boom, and say that's my spot. Now it's locked in now, it's not going to go anywhere, but I didn't lock it yet. And then to lock it, and then you hear that little click, and it's ready to go. And so I think this is going to be a lot of fun. You guys are going to see this a lot. You're going to hear about it a lot. Not sorry, because people need to hear about stuff like this when you have general purpose, fun rifles. And their reps are saying 277 Sig Fury is coming out at the end of the year. You're going to hear about that, because if I get my hands on a barrel and a buttload of ammo, I'm going to buy it, because if it holds true, it's going to be phenomenal. And so with that, I don't know that I could go over anything else. Buttstock's covered, tilt, cant left and right, up and down, adjustable comb, adjustable length of pull, you get regular AR-15 butt grips, folding that I can only fold with my right hand for some reason. But I mean, come on, man! Like my tape measure's right here. Let's do this. I'm gonna do this real quick. See, these are the things I got. I don't plan my videos out. Most of you already know that, because you're just like, what the hell are you talking about now? I mean, 28 inches folded. 28 inches. Unfolded. Open, rather. Unfolded. 37 inches. carrying a yardstick, and it barely weighs more than a yardstick. It's got a good trigger, got a great, I felt better. This is not a big horn or I can't even think of all the other actions right now, but this isn't a custom action. But it's really nice, and the trigger's really nice, and the folding buttstock is perfect for me up in the backcountry, out in the woods with my stuff all the time. The adjustability is great for me, the weight is phenomenal, and I can't wait to get out and shoot some more and get you guys some more video of it. But take it in. Hey, with that, thanks for watching. If you've got any specific questions about this rifle, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to shoot a video in a day or two about my first outing with it, my reloads. I'll tell you, spoiler alert on that. Over 3,000 feet per second with 130 grain bullets out of a 308. Yes, that's super fast, but it's a 16-inch barrel. And then these stupid flies won't stop flying around. And with 178 boat tail hollow point from Hornady, because that's all I got right now, 2665 average over 2 5-shot groups. 2665. So reloading is going to be a lot of fun for this, and we've gone long enough already. So with that, stay tactical.